Another one. Over the last week, the Dallas Cowboys have now signed 3 defensive linemen, and the latest one is both a former friend and a former rival to the 2024 Dallas Cowboys. We'll get into it, and also why this is actually a small move that could be a big deal. Let's get to it. Here we go. What is up, everyone, and welcome to A to Z Sports Dallas Primetime. I am your host, Mauricio Rodriguez, streaming with you live every Sunday and Thursday night at 8 p.m. Central here on Dallas On Demand Sports Talk Network, and catching up with you Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday with quick-hitting videos such as this one. And I had a topic in line for today. I had some graphics done already. I had some plans for the show. And then all of that was derailed when Josina Anderson from CBS Sports reported that the Cowboys are signing defensive tackle Linval Joseph. And it might not seem like a big move, especially as we head into the preseason finale, but I think it's a pretty big deal. Linval Joseph is 35 years old. He's not going to change the course of the 2024 Cowboys. But in addition to everything that we've already seen from the front office, adding Carl Lawson and adding Jordan Phillips, I'm pretty happy with the move, and I think you should be too. And listen, Linval Joseph is a close former friend of Mike Zimmer, right? They both arrived to Minnesota at the same time, so they both got there 2014. Linval had already started his career elsewhere, but that was his second stop in an NFL career that started in 2010. And then he stuck around until 2019. Then he left, and then Mike Zimmer left a couple of years later. So this is a Mike Zimmer guy, in other words, right? Similarly to like Eric Kendricks at linebacker, Kendricks might be more of a Mike Zimmer guy because of his position and the fact that he plays Mike and all that. But this is a Mike Zimmer guy if the Cowboys have any other. And it's a big move, in my opinion, for several reasons. Number one, it certainly is insurance policy over the whole Mazi Smith question marks. Mazi has clearly improved, but there are some question marks still to his game. And there are some question marks about his weight. There are some question marks about everything because we already saw what happened last year. So naturally, it's understandable to have some reservations about what things will look like in 2024. And I think now you finally got proven nose tackle depth, because behind Mazi, you had 7th-round rookie Justin Rogers. You maybe had undrafted free agent Denzel Jackson, who was never seemingly a 53-man roster candidate, other than because of the fact that your roster is very thin at the position. Now you get somebody who has 186 games in the NFL under his belt that can actually provide some experience to the unit and some solid rotation in the lineup. Now, Joseph is not here to get 10 sacks or 10 tackle for losses. He is likely not going to light up the stat sheet. But the big reason why I'm excited about the move, and again, in conjunction with the moves they already had made at defensive line, is that I feel I can finally get excited about the linebacker room, you know? And I say that because I've always been excited about the Marvin Overshown coming back. I've been excited about that since last year, since before the 2023 season was over, because we all were excited about that preseason that he was able to put together last August. I've always been excited about Eric Kendricks joining the squad, right? I talked about it before the signing even happened. That was a move that I was calling for. I'm excited about Maurice Leofau joining the team, even though we all had some question marks about it when the pick happened in the 3rd round in April. And I've been excited about Damon Clark's rise and how the coaches express themselves about Damon. And, you know, in general, I'm excited about the linebacker room. I think everyone in Cowboys Nation is. But the problem to me was always, is that going to be evident because of the defensive tackle play? Because I looked at the defensive tackle room for the Cowboys, and you guys know me, for a while it's been the weakest unit on the team, in my opinion. Since the draft, at least, I perceived it as the biggest weakness in the entire roster. And I was afraid, even when the training camp hype was rising for the linebackers, I was afraid of them just not being able to show off because offensive linemen were consistently climbing to the second level, or because the reads were just not there for the linebackers to be made. You know, just like a running back needs a top-tier offensive line in front of him, your linebackers need a defensive tackle room that is doing the work, the dirty work in the trenches. And without that, I think Overshown, I think Eric Kendricks, Clark, Maurice Leofau, we're never going to be able to really thrive. And now you don't have an elite defensive tackle room or anything like that, but you have an actual rotation. Now you have starters. Now you have direct backups, it seems like, because at first, I didn't know who was going to be backup to Ozo Odighizuwa. Now it feels like we already know who it's going to be. It's going to be Jordan Phillips, seemingly. Maybe some other rotations in there if the Cowboys want to go with some hybrid fronts and maybe force the Chauncey Golston issue inside. But it's going to be Osa. Behind him, it's going to be Jordan Phillips, it seems like, who is big for a 3 technique, but that's what he is. He already told us that in a recent media availability session. And then for Masi, we didn't really know who was going to be the backup, but back in May, the options were either a 7th-round rookie, UDFA Denzel Daxon, or Carl Davis, who hasn't really contributed in a long, long time to an NFL roster. So neither of those options looked great. At 3 technique, at nose tackle, now you get starters, now you get a rotation, set in stone maybe. I think Linval Joseph comes in and he's a part of the 53-man roster, and he also is insurance policy in case Masi Smith, for some reason, struggles in his second year. At least you have a veteran to call on, and at least you're giving your defensive ends a better chance to shine, and you're giving your linebackers a better chance to leave a mark as well. So again, not a huge signing from the Cowboys, but in a impact level, it is pretty big. I think it is one of the last question marks on this roster being answered, in other words, by the front office. Now I don't look at defensive tackle as that big of a weakness as I did earlier in the year. Now I could say maybe running back is the new biggest concern, right? Or maybe it's this, or maybe it's the other. But right now, I feel pretty good about the Cowboys' defensive line. They added Jordan Phillips. They added Linval Joseph. Add to that the Carl Lawson thing and the fact that Marshawn Neiland is thriving. And even with Sam Williams being injured, you kind of have to feel good about the defensive end depth. Compare that to early in the preseason when Aisha Morrison and I were discussing the defensive line. I absolutely feel much better. I think you should too. Ladies and gentlemen, let me know in the comments, how would you grade the Linval Joseph signing? Because I would give it, honestly, a solid B+. Not in the sense that he's going to change the outcome of the 2024 season, but I think right now it's one of the best moves that the Cowboys could have made. I'm excited about it. Hit the like button for me, and I'll see you tomorrow night here on A to Z Sports Dallas Primetime at 8 p.m. We'll be live and talking about the preseason finale, so tune in. Bye-bye.